From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Power Move, your podcast about all things real estate. And hopefully we're going to have a good one today. Actually, not hopefully, man. I know we're going to have a good one.
It's going to be a good time.
I know, because I got my man Jon Story in studio with us today. Happy to have Jon here. Jon is probably, of all the real estate coaches I know, he's the only guy that I currently right now I recommend you to people. I'm not going to lie. I tell people they should call you for this stuff because I think a lot of our views line up with where the market's at and what people need to be doing to make sure things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the market took a big dramatic shift here, even just last week with what Zillow did to not only the consumers, but the realtors of buying leads, which, I mean, we're going to get into that on the purpose of why are you buying leads?
Yeah, you're dead meat if you're doing that. We're going to get to that. But first, man, we've had so many conversations, and we've had conversations on camera before, and we've never really talked about you, man. Like about you and how this kind of started and how you got into this and your background before even the real estate biz. So, what did you do before you were even in this space? What'd you do? Tell me the story of Jon Story.
Wow, I haven't heard that one today, so that's first, right? I was actually going into the medical field. I was going to be a respiratory therapist, and then I saw what I was going to make. And I figured, well, if somebody's going to dictate my pay, I might as well dictate my own pay.
Yeah.
And so I ffigured my mom had been a realtor, she'd been going now for 30 plus years. I was like, well, I think I could do that space. I like to talk. I like to do things. Mm-hmm. She recommended title versus doing real estate and all that kind of stuff because she thought I'd be good at the sales and the, kind of doing that kind of stuff. So kind of just evolved, and I started in Utah. My career up in Utah.
Okay.
And then,
did you grow up in Utah?
I grew up in Utah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then I moved in Arizona, where I currently am, 9 years ago. Started my brand out there, and kind of how I built my company right now, I just built it pretty much through social media and relationships.
Yeah.
Which is the art of that. And
so you're in title. So you start as a title rep.
Marketing, business development manager. Wanted to be unique, where they say your title's business development.
Yeah.
In the title industry, but it's crazy how many people don't really know how to develop business. They just got that thing. They go print flyers. They go do this stuff and ask for the business versus the value piece.
So you show up. Here you are. You're going to be a title rep. You're going to go out and get business. And they say, okay, here's your desk calendars. Here's your pens. Here's your swag, like every other title company on the planet has. And they tell you, go make it happen.
Right.
So apparently that wasn't going to make it happen.
No, it doesn't, because it's almost like having a one-trick pony and like you're in the same band as everybody else, you know? So, I mean, what's going to make you different? I mean, that's what you've got to structure.
And what did you figure out that made you different in that business?
Well, it was crazy because, my story is a little bit different than most people really understand, is that my life totally changed dramatically 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I became a full-time single dad.
Okay.
Never posted about it. Wasn't the single mom problems that you see online that people will do, or their dramatic relationships with things that don't work. Mm-hmm. And my daughter really changed my life.
How old was she when this happened?
She was 3 at the time, and so I had to learn how to get time back. I can only pick her up at a certain time, drop her off at a certain time. Had to learn how to blow dry her hair. I always tell this story and things like that. And she was my sidekick, man. We did everything together.
3. That's not exactly like that's not like the kid's taking care of herself. I mean, that's
right.
You're still like, let me tie your shoes for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was
full time.
Yeah, she was in pre-K, so it was just, she went through a lot of tough stuff. And what that really helped me develop at that moment is that a lot of people make excuses, right? Every day we wake up, we make excuses why we don't do things. Well, she was 3 years old and had no opportunity to make an excuse.
Yeah.
She just had to kind of deal with the cards that we were dealt. She's 9 now, but she's the happiest kid that you can be if you ever meet her. And I know a lot of people have, they're, that have known my story personally. They're kind of like, wow, like really, you wouldn't even think that even happened with what she had to go through and what she saw. Obviously, because I have full custody as a man, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, that is rare. That's definitely odd.
Yeah.
And Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So no, for sure. I'm thinking about my daughter who, just looked at me, even up to age probably 4, like I was just suspect.
Right.
Like it was all about mom and just looked at me like I'd stolen something from her. Was pretty much all I got from her for years. I can't even imagine being turned loose with her.
Yeah.
And just saying, okay, go get it, man. That's something. And again, there's millions of women out there that do this every day.
Right.
And not to say that it's easier or harder for women or men, but anybody that's doing it.
It's tough, man. It was a tough gig. So
yeah, anybody. So here you are. You got your daughter. Life
Right.
changed.
Right.
You're schlepping your desk calendars and your pens,
Right.
and people are slamming the door in your face and saying, "Man, this isn't working."
Right.
Thanks a lot. I'm already dealing with so and so more. Time.
Right.
I don't need you.
Right.
What do you do?
So, I mean, it was kind of like I just had an epiphany, and I would go sit with these realtors, and if I couldn't answer their question, I felt like there was no reason they should send me the business.
Right.
Because, I was taught at a young age, never ask for the business, but ask how you can help them grow their business.
Right.
And in return, they'll send you the business, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how you create the loyalty in the industry where everybody's, if they're going to cut you a check, well, somebody's going to cut a bigger check tomorrow and you're going to lose that account. Mm-hmm. So how do you keep with the value? And what I would see is over the years, my clients would attend these big coaching seminars, right? They'd hire all these coaches, spend all these thousands of dollars, and I'd say, well, how does that kind of work? And they go, oh yeah, I get a phone call a month, or I'm in a group, or it's all about
accountability.
Yeah,
it's all about tracking and accountability.
Well, and I think anybody that hires a coach, you're going to be successful, right?
Yeah,
because it's an accountability. But I think that the lost art in what that was is that they didn't really focus on fixing yourself personally.
Right.
Because I think if your personal life and how you are as a person, how you carry yourself, you're going to be more successful in the long run of your business. And they always talk about, I'm closing all these deals. They want you to make whatever it is, right? But so my clients would go to these events and they'd come back and they're like, hey, okay, so my coach says that I need to go do this. And I'm like, okay, but you're paying them. Why are you asking me?
Yeah.
And so then I had to show them how to do it, right? Because, I got to do Facebook, or I got to.
So the high-level conceptual stuff is kind of what they were getting.
Right.
But the practical day-to-day of this is what you actually need to do was a little lacking in some of these things.
Yeah, like I got to go farm. Okay, well, how do you pick a farm? Well, my coach says I need to just go farm, and I got to drop. Okay, but did they talk about a budget? Did they talk about anything?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on right now?
Yeah.
Am I getting punked on this thing?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just it was a cool thing. I created a niche, did some boot camp coaching back in Arizona. And that kind of really established, really kind of how to conversate in a mass group, how to control a crowd, but really realized why I wanted to quit in the title industry and do what I do now.
Well, the funny thing was, I'd heard we talked about this before in your group, but I know you had things like, look, here's the deal. You're not paying me to do this for you, so if you don't do it, I'm gonna kick you out.
Right. Yeah.
You can't. You can go pay, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, whoever else. You can pay them whatever you want, and they're still gonna let you kind of slide because you're paying them.
Right.
But if you don't do what I tell you to do, you're done.
Right. I mean, it's just not going to work. I mean, people think that you can always buy somebody to do your job, but the lost art. And it's funny because my mom had just said this, and it kind of really hit home. She said, the evolution of real estate got destroyed the moment a realtor could buy leads. Mm-hmm. Because you're buying, so she said, when all these realtors are posting their numbers mm-hmm. about what they do, well, are they really true numbers? Because you bought those. They weren't relationship built driven. Oh yeah, sure, you created a relationship and you called them and you cold call them or whatever you did, but it wasn't really the referrals, because back in the day before they could buy leads, you had to just build relationships.
Well, well, let's specify too, because when you talk about buying leads, you're talking about going to one of the lead aggregators like Zillow, like Realtor.com, like Trulia, that are doing the marketing, driving the traffic to their sites, and then marketing to get a sign up, and then selling that information.
Correct.
Yeah, because the reason I want to differentiate that is because here in Vegas, especially with so many people moving to this city, I definitely feel that yes, the relationships are important. We're going to talk about how to build relationships and how to get away from having to buy leads from the aggregator. But I think there's also a really important part of your business is making an investment in your own marketing that drives that traffic to your own site that turns into your own leads. So I just want to stress that because we have so many people moving here.
Right.
Man,
everybody's moving.
Everybody's moving here. You couldn't depend on your sphere to just get out of town business. Speaking of that, if anybody I know happens to know like Derek Carr, I mean, I think he already bought a house next to Gruden up there, but that'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty bomb. Yeah, just like, I'll go with you on that one.
Like, I tell you what, anybody in my sphere can hook me up with a beer with Jon Gruden. I'm gonna give you a Starbucks gift card because that's what I'm gonna do. $5 Starbucks gift card. Such a good. You give me a beer with Jon Gruden, I'm gonna hook you up. That's what it is. But having that marketing is important. But you and I both completely agree on getting away from the portals, and that's something that is just got to get done. Now,
well, explain to them what they're meaning by the portals, because I know what you mean. Yeah. But a lot of realtors out there may be like, "What does John mean by the portals?"
No, I totally agree. So if you are, well, you have to know what they are, because if you have a real estate business at all, and you have a phone number that's listed through any MLS or any place that's scrapable, where they can build these lists of realtors across the country, you get this phone call every day. And here's this phone call. Hi, is this John? Hi, John. I'm just wondering, are you accepting new clients in Henderson, Nevada? Are you accepting, like, okay, what realtor? Of course, that's like, yes, I am. Well, we have 3 qualified buyers right now. They're looking. Look, because of the laziness of realtors and their inability to invest the time and energy to learn how to do this themselves, all of these other companies have come along to monopolize on our laziness, like you said. The skill to this job, or at least the skill to the marketing side of this job, died as soon as that happened. So people are so dependent on getting their leads from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from these random third-party services that it's nuts. And even now you have a service like OpCity. Which I think OpCity is a smart business move. We have some agents here that close a lot of deals with OpCity. Again, I'm not hating on what some of these guys are doing today. It's what I know they're going to do tomorrow. That's what I know they're going to do tomorrow.
Well, it's kind of like what Zillow just did. I mean, you're able to buy leads. All of a sudden now they want all full commission.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So Zillow, when I was at Inman a couple of weeks ago, the best thing I saw, the single greatest thing I saw was that I don't remember who the speaker was, but a guy was speaking, and he put a graphic up on the screen. And it was that graphic of a baseball bat with a bunch of little kids' hands on it. If you ever played backyard baseball or wiffle ball or whatever, that's how you decided who got to hit first. Was everybody's hands went up, whoever made it on top, that team was the home team, and that's what you did. Well, he said this essentially is everything when it comes to online real estate. This is it. This is what everybody's trying to do, is get to be first. It's why Zillow has started flipping houses, because people in markets where OfferPad and Open Door are spending some of those billions of dollars that they're now worth in advertising, people are starting to say, well, rather than go to Zillow and get his estimate, I'm going to go to Open Door OfferPad and get a real offer in my hand. That's where I'm going to start as a basis to this. Now, losing that customer first, that's why Zillow got in the business of flipping houses. But now here's the thing. For years, Zillow, of course, you've been able to buy zip codes. Buy zip code, buy zip codes, buy zip code.
10 grand, $500, whatever.
But when this first started out, do you remember when they first started doing this? You can buy a zip code for $150 a month.
Well, yeah, because what happened is you had Active Rain, right? So everybody was like, when I got into business, you got to be on Active Rain.
Have to.
Well, then who bought Active Rain? Trulia. Well, then who bought Trulia? Zillow. So then they got all those databases where realtors were stuffing them up in there because they thought they needed to get the reviews up in there. And now they realize that they built the biggest CRM system of a competitor that has all your past clients of buyers or sellers that wrote reviews.
They have everyone. They have it all.
And built it out so they can just target your audience.
And again, look, we can sit here all day and talk about the moronic decisions that realtor leadership on a national level has made over the years to build this giant conglomerate that's going to try to kill us all. But I think more importantly is when you talk about what you can do to protect yourself going forward. So the reason it's important, and what we're talking about was Zillow doing that deal where you could buy a zip code for $150. Why that's important is Zillow then takes a look and sees what OpCity is doing, because Zillow dumps dead leads that nobody's calling. Because we all know the majority of leads that Zillow sells, the people that buy them don't call them anyway, which I don't understand that at all. But they sell them to OpCity. OpCity then turns into an internal sales agent, calls out, makes connections, and then does live transfers into real life agents that pay them a 35% referral. Well, Zillow starts to take a look at that. So you look at Zillow's business model over the years. Started cheap with the zip codes. Good. We're just a media company. We don't have any interest in being in the real estate business. from the Inman stage for years and years and years. Every year, Zillow gets up and says that. We're a media company, not a real estate company. Well, all of a sudden they start jacking those rates up.
Right.
So it gets to like some zip codes are what, like $2,000.
Some were 10
to buy a zip code for a month. It's insane.
Right.
So now all of a sudden their revenue flattens out completely in the last part of last year into the first part of this year. Completely flat is their revenue on doing their Premier Agent. So they look at what Obsidia is doing and they say, okay, cool. And now they make a move and they go, oh, you can't buy leads from us anymore. However, we're going to do you a favor, realtors. I think we've heard this before from them.
Right.
I think we've heard it when they say, we're going to do you a favor.
Right.
We're going to do you a favor, realtors. We're going to do all the work for you. We're going to contact people. And oh yeah, now it's just going to be 35% straight up a lead. But you don't have to do anything. Go to sleep. Be lazy. Do nothing.
Right.
All you have to do is drive people around.
Right.
Here's the problem. The problem with that is, you look at some people, and there's a lot of agents that are probably on teams, and they're like, well, I'm on a team,
right,
and I get 50% for a lead that's referred to me, and that's fine. But here's what's going to happen. Here's the problem. How many of those team leaders are getting leads from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from those places that now that cost has gone to 35%?
Right.
That's going to trickle down to them and affect them. But more importantly, just like zip codes used to be $150, how long before the 35% becomes 50%?
Right.
Becomes 65%.
Because you're going to be like on a team, basically.
One giant Zillow team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got into real estate to work for yourself, set your own hours, do all these things. Then you join a team.
A giant
and then you do it, right. And then you basically build a monster that is going to do that. Because why? Because everybody's in a panic mode. And it's not to discredit anybody, but I feel like anybody that's ever closed a deal off social media and stuff is now teaching all these classes, and they're now a social media guru on how to do shit.
Yeah, I've always said you can literally walk out your door, hit a golf ball, hit a Google expert, a Facebook ads expert, and everything else. Because understand, if you don't know this, you've probably been living under a rock, but you've got like Billy Jean is marketing in San Diego, and some of these guys are legitimate geniuses.
Right.
Billy Jean is a genius. The guy's great. Problem is, he sells courses to try to teach you how to be a genius.
Right.
And if Einstein taught a course personally to me on the theory of relativity, I'm not going to get it because I'm not that smart.
Right.
And so you're turning loose this crew of people that are kind of like, it's kind of like, you know what it is? It's like when you make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, eventually it just kind of gets kind of screwy looking.
Right.
You have a lot of copies of copies of copies of copies running around presenting themselves as experts.
Well, it's almost like the factor of like where 7-year-old kids play soccer, right? Uh-huh. And wherever the ball is, where are they all at?
It's like the vibrant
football. Then you got the one kid over here that's knowing like, if you just kick me the ball, there's no one around and I'm going to score.
Yeah. So
that's like the 10% rule, right? Where they say, basically 90% of all realtors that sell a home to a consumer, their consumer doesn't remember who they are after 90 days.
No clue.
Because it's the follow-up.
No.
So what happens is, and after doing so many courses and things like this, I've realized I always ask people, I say, well, what do you do with your past clientele? Oh, I put them in an email drip system. Well, how many of you guys read all your emails this morning?
I read none of them.
Right, but you read
sent me an email. Sorry, I promise I'm going to get back to you just after this. I promise. Sorry.
But it's like you read social media posts and you create the correct audience and you can stay in front of them. But you're friends of friends, so now you close these transactions, but you're thinking you're going to get those referrals. Mm-hmm. And now over the past, and we talked about this over the last, because we kind of tracked over the last 90 to 120 days. You're like, hey, ask them this question of, hey, how long have you been in the industry? You've been in the industry longer than 5 years. How are your referral business coming in? Mm-hmm. And I would say in the classroom, 75% of them are saying, like, my referrals just died.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's because the friend, well, they're closing somewhere. Well, because the friends of the friends are associated with 7 other realtors.
Yeah.
And so how do they get to know you? And that's where it comes back to where we were talking originally. It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
Getting them into where you can captivate an audience and stay in front of them is the way to grow your business nowadays. Versus, if I could teach you guys a trick right now that are looking right now. If you're a realtor and social media is meant to be social on, you picked who you're going to talk to, right?
Yep.
And how algorithms work. And you guys that, follow me or you see my client success stories, and this is the number one reason why. If you build out a great audience and it's quality over quantity, because a lot of realtors think, and people think like, gosh, I can go up to 5,000 friends, I can add all these people. But if they're all junk and they're never going to buy or sell, but they don't see your content. And the reason is because realtors, and you guys, some of you guys are going to, say that I'm wrong and all this stuff, but my clients are taking your business. because what they did is they removed the realtors from their page. You're already in private groups. Some people say that's some of the dumbest things to do, but that's why people are doubling their business. Because if you like another realtor's post, you comment on other realtor's posts, you're tagging other realtors in posts. Think about this. Anything you look up online that you're going to purchase shows up on your news feed. Well, so you're telling Facebook, look, I'm adding these friends that are realtors. I'm conversating with these people realtors. That's why your friend suggestions are all realtors. That's why your news feed is all realtors. So when you drop great content that you think your consumer is going to see, yeah, there's going to be a select few, but where are the other 100, 200, 300, 1,000 people you have on there? They don't see your stuff. And when you go to look and reach out to them, you're going to realize they're using another realtor. They're using another content, and that's where the referral base kind of goes to. And, some people agree, they don't disagree. I don't really care.
Well, for me, the big part of me and my message with cutting the cord from these big guys and not becoming dependent is twofold. Number one, you've got to learn how to develop and you've got to learn how to market to get your own leads of people that don't know you.
Right.
And especially in a market like Las Vegas where we do have so much transient people moving in. You've got to learn how to do that for yourself.
Right.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you know what? I signed up for Conversion. I signed up for Chime. I signed up for Commissions Inc. They're doing it. Well, here's the thing. If they're doing it for you and for 800 other people in the same market, how can they possibly be doing a good job for you?
Right.
I look at, and even people that work at our brokerage, I'll ask them, what's your average cost per lead? Like, I'm using this system, which cost per lead? And it's always like $23. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, you really need to learn how to do that for yourself because I'm running between $8 and $9 all the time because we handle that internally ourselves.
Right.
And the results that we're getting and the quality of lead that we're getting is superior because it's just me marketing for my team.
Well, you're creating that relationship build right from the beginning.
Well, I'm talking about online leads right now.
Right.
That's all I'm talking about.
Right.
Is that. Now, when the second part of that, obviously, is you've got to create a community around your business where you become the mayor of real estateville.
Right.
That's effectively what you are. You've got to be that person. You've got to become that hand back on top of the bat.
Right.
And I think the way that we've always been programmed to do that is realtors. And even it's just been, hey, your sphere. Every time you have your sphere out there, and even if you send out those just listed, just sold postcards, make sure that they see those too, so they still see what you're doing. Well, that's talking at your audience.
Well, they never ask for anything.
They don't, and I think here's the difference. I think what you really do is you teach people, and what I love about what you do is you're teaching realtors how to talk with their audiences instead of at them.
Right.
And I think that is the big difference, and that's what's going to make the players, it's going to wash away the robots.
Right.
And it's going to separate, it's going to have that kid over on the soccer field, that one kid waiting to score. That's going to be the person that can talk with their audience instead of at them.
Yeah, I think the lost art and, anything that you guys do, whether it's your business cards, whether it's your flyers, whether it's your campaigns that you're running or just videos, we never ask for anything.
No.
We always say, look, I always laugh at the tagline that says, I'm never too busy for referrals, or the biggest compliment you can ever give me is referring your family and friends. Okay, but where are the referrals? Like, if that's what you put on everything, or hey, if you're looking at this home.
Can I jump in? Because I'm going to tell you. Do you know what those same people that say I'm never too busy for those referrals? Do you know what they also have on their voicemails? They have for fast response. When you call them, they say I can't take your call right now. For fast response text.
Right.
So I'm not too busy for your referrals, but I'm way too busy to call you back. So just text me.
Right.
If you have that combination on. Well, you should not have that. I hate that text thing.
Yeah,
get it off. Don't tell people to text you for faster response. Just call people back.
Well, and the art is like what you're talking about is like instead of talking at them, talk with them. Mm-hmm. On your marketing campaigns, it's so crazy that people always put their call to action at the very bottom of the flyer. Mm-hmm. Okay, they may put something up that there's an open house or, hey, call for more information on this property. Well, what if that's not the property they wanted to view?
Right.
But you never said that you had other properties that they could see. Mm-hmm. Consumers don't really know all that kind of stuff. But also, you never ask, hey, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Mm-hmm. How can I help you today?
What questions do you have?
Instead of being like, and that comes back to the email campaigns that people do where we talk, these guys are just cramming down content that title companies give you or lenders give you or, oh my gosh, these rate programs changed. But it's you, so what I did is I did a little reverse, right? I would go actually ask consumers and be like, hey, what do you think of this marketing piece? Do you understand it? And they would say like, no.
It's jargon.
And I'd say, well, why don't you understand it? Like this is, and he goes, dude, I see all that crap all the time from realtors, and I'm like, why can't you just explain what it is? I don't know what rates are. I don't know what APR is. I don't know what down payment assistance. And that's where video comes into play.
Yeah.
Like we're live streaming right now, which I never go live on my platform, hardly. Mm-hmm. I've gone, I think, 3 times in my career. I've built out an audience, but I let people know I was going to go.
Yeah.
And I think even the live features talking at people, because nobody ever lets people know. They think it's like, oh my God, I'm a celebrity and it's my fan club. But you don't let people know that we're going to do this. Like you put it on your Instagram, hey, we're going to do this. We've been advertising for the last 3 days, letting people know. People that view in, they don't. But it's just the lost art about how you can build a community around you. And like you said, be the marketing master within your community to your clientele.
Well, I think it's solving problems. Like you talk about deleting realtors from your Facebook group and all those things. Now understand that me as the owner of a company, my wants and needs are a little different. So I'm trying to connect with realtors. But when I do stuff like this, and a lot of the content that I put out is meant to be the stuff that I put out on Facebook or on social media is more benefit added to agents than it is to clients. The agents on my team put out way more content that's beneficial to our clients than I would, because it's a different idea. And I'm always very clear to tell people, like, don't do what I do, because what I do has a much different agenda. And I think the idea is you've got to decide what your agenda is. I think that's a problem too. I think a lot of people use social media and they just have a shotgun. They start spraying content with no end in. They don't begin with the end in mind, and I think that's important.
Well, I think it's you talk about the evolution about how social media has gone, right? And it's crazy because I do watch some social media people there in the real estate, and all they do is they read shit and regurgitate it and act like they know. They've never digested it, put it into their business plan. Hey, these are results that I've gotten, and these are also the results that my clients have gotten from this procedure that I did.
There's a lot of we're gonna do this stuff.
And so if you see the evolution of social media, the people that post too much, that tag too much, you got the Gary V's of the world. Well, he's marketing to entrepreneurs. He's not marketing to consumers.
No.
So his product is great. I'm gonna post as many times as I can, and I'm gonna do this. But after a while, it's like annoying, right? It's like
too much.
It's like the selfie, or I check into the gym every day, or I check into Starbucks. It's a balance ratio on how you build out your algorithms. And that's why stories have evolved. Facebook stories, Instagram stories. That's where you want to put your content. That's where you want to sell people. I'm doing a class today on it about it but people still in their stories. I watch people's stories just to kind of see what they're doing. They never ask for anything. Like you legit in your story, hey, I'm going live with this person. It's 11 a.m. I'm on my podcast. It's in my bio. Let's do this. So what did you do? 4 different times you're asking for something versus you're like, oh my gosh, check out this house. Awesome. Check out this kitchen. Cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think the problem with that is with content creation. I think that nobody's really. People think they understand how to create content or how to do it. My favorite is when a realtor goes to a house and pulls their camera out and says, look at this gorgeous house, and then spins like this. They're in the shot. Has the camera out in front of them, pointing at them, with the house behind them, and then they spin like Vanna White. So the shot, it drives me crazy because it's like, yes, it's proven that posts with face or video of you gets better response. But if you're talking about a house, just show the house. And then talk about, hey, if this isn't for you, like you said, give me some solid calls to action. That if this is not the property for you, hey, I've got other ones. I've got lots of stuff. For a full list of everything we have available or whatever, if we can tailor it for you, call me. I think that's the stuff that's
it's the call to action where people are, they even say that, but it's the, hey, don't hesitate if you have any questions. Any way that I can help you find your dream, let me help you. And they don't say that. They just always say, let's isolate that. And that's where the live thing, like you talk about that, like people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm here, I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like, here's my hand, here's the stuff that I'm doing, look at me.
Shaky hand.
And you're like, is there an earthquake happening? But then you also think about the branding purposes of things where you say, how do you be found in your digital space? Well, Google, right? And YouTube's populating, they're overranking Google. Why? Because you got the young kids, like my daughter's like, I don't need TV, I've got YouTube, I've got Netflix. What do you need to buy? I don't need TV anymore. I can watch everything there. Why do you think YouTube evolved to have their own TV network now? Because that's where everybody's at. But all the realtors are going to start doing that, right? Because it's like when iPads first came out. How many classes were taught for iPads? It's, oh my gosh, let's run Facebook ads. And I always did the polar opposite of what everybody did. I said, gosh, if you just build a good audience, you don't have to buy things. And your ROI, so when I talk about ROI, like return on your investment, I focus more on your time.
Oh, without... Amen,
you and I are all about that. Brother. I mean, that's why we link up so much, because you do very well, I do well, but at the same moment, we're able to, grow, have fun, hang out with our family, go on vacations, where a lot of people, and I think the lost art in our society, especially in the real estate community, is they're always waking up with, what do I do? You know what you need to do, but why don't you just do something for yourself? And I've had a lot of people ask, like, oh my gosh, I love getting pedicures, I love doing this. That's not doing something for yourself. Like, what do you really like to do? Do you like going on walks? Like, how can you better yourself? I had a client, Carmen Lance, I'm gonna drop her name. She came to me, it was funny, because when I was a title rep, right, I taught these boot camps. This is a funny story. And she goes, I want to come. And I'm like, well, you got to be a client. Oh, come on. And I'm like, no, you can't come unless you are.
No.
The moment I opened up my own company, one of the first people to sign up, right? So she typically always closed $5 million a year. She's probably going to do about 10. She's already at like 8.3 closed. So she's already bettered her business. And we did an interview and I said, what were your first steps? She's like, obviously the algorithms, all the stuff you coach, but you really emphasized on fixing what I want to do. Like, how, because if you feel better when you start your day, like, I think people always wait till the end of the day when they're done with work, when they're done feeding, and then, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. But if you start your day with an affirmation that's positive for you on how you feel, whether it's just waking up, like I do fasted cardio, or I'm just going to start reading a book, or I'm going to go outside interrupted and read a book with coffee, or, you know.
Cardio, that's an exercise.
Right, yeah, I know, right. Your cardio's to the fridge, I get it. Mine's a little different on my aspect, but it's, all of a sudden they just feel way more focused. Because they feel like, man, I just did something for me, and it's okay to be selfish sometimes.
Because that brings up another question. I mean, do you even lift, bro?
Sometimes. I am kind of sometimes, yeah. I kind of lift.
But I think if nothing else, man, that's the you know, I call this podcast The Power Move, and why? Because I want people to know how to move people better, but also look for that one little thing that's going to make your business move. And I got to tell you, that's the power move for today, is focus more on return on time than you do return on investment. Yeah. Because we can always get more money. Right. Money's easy to get, it's easy to come by, it's easy to lose.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time you can't get any more of. So, you know, I always break everything down that I do by, this works, but look how much time it takes.
Right.
You know, I would rather have something that maybe doesn't return at high of a rate, but takes little to no time or less time than something else. Because again, you know, I always tell myself this, and I'm sure I think we talked about this before, which is, you know, my son is 11, my daughter is 10. I got 7 more summers with my son. Right. That's it. I got 7 more summers, and I don't waste any of that, and I don't make apologies for that, because they say that, and I think the number is like 96% of the time that you spend with your kids, you spend before they're 18. So I don't intend on wasting any of that time, and I don't make apologies for that.
Well, and I mean, when we talked, I mean, you asked like, well, why would you go into business and do this when you were doing well in title? Because it was a time thing. Yeah. Dude, I love when I work, because I work from home.
Well, keep in mind, I didn't ask you that accusatory like that, like, why would you leave this?
I know, but
I just wanted to hear your answer.
And my answer was, because I can be working and my daughter can come down and sit there and chill and sit on my lap, and, you know, she colors on my table, and I can still be getting stuff done, but I'm there. Yeah. I'm present versus being everywhere. And with how we market nowadays, guys, we can be in a digital space. We don't have to be running around to all these meetings and all these classes. And, you know, the crazy thing that I always ask, I always ask this question, and I believe you asked me, you're like, ask all these realtors, how many classes have you attended, and how much have you implemented from those classes over your career?
Yeah. It's you know, even going to any class, I just say you look for the one thing. You look for if you pick one, even this podcast,
implementation.
Even this podcast, if they find one thing from today and say, wow, that's good. If that one thing is checking out your website and digging deeper into what you're doing, if it's them stopping and saying, wow, maybe I need to start tracking the time I'm spending on stuff and not just money, if they just find the one thing that's good. But you're right, people spend hours in these classes, and there's some there's some companies out there that are built on classes. Right. We have 800 classes a day. Right. And not to talk ill about another company, because I wouldn't, but I used to own a different company, a different brokerage, and it was a chain. And I would sit in front of that room and I would teach these classes, and I literally could sit there and look out in the crowd and go, I wouldn't say this verbally, but in my head I'd go, never going to sell anything, never going to sell anything, never going to sell anything, because they were class junkies and not do junkies.
Right. I understand it. It's implementation. People always, they always get to the thing, oh, it must be nice. That's one of the catch lines when people get, in a different space and they have fun, and it's always like, oh, that person it must be nice that you're closing all those clothes. Well, you have the same opportunity. Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. You have the same opportunity every day to be amazing and to better yourself and to do things. And what we don't do, and that's why I always reflect back. People always ask, and this is important, I think, for people just in general. I think you need to find your why.
Well, of
and
course,
it's not so much about, and people always say like, oh, it's because I want to make money so I can, no, like what really is your why of why you're motivated to do what you do? And obviously it's my kids and what I do. I want to build something for them, but it started with my daughter with all that we went through. And you know what? She never made any bullshit excuses. She would cry and I'd hold her and all that kind of stuff, but she didn't kind of understand it. She never makes excuses up to this date that she's a certain way because of what happened to her when she was younger. And I think that's a good thing. Maybe I'm probably raising her right to be a certain way.
For sure.
But I think everybody wakes up with an opportunity to better themselves. So if you could take anything from this, not only as far as the coaching, like what can you do today that can impact your life tomorrow to make you smile when you wake up, be happy when you do things, to where when you do face challenges, you're going to realize, gosh, if that's the worst thing I've got to deal with today, I've got a roof over my head, I got food in my belly, I'm driving a car, I'm listening to this podcast right now or watching it live on a phone.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad?
Yeah. It's like I always ask my son, I go, when he starts whining, my standard, my son is, did you have to walk 3 miles today to get clean water? Because a lot of people on this planet did have to do that. And I think that's it. For me, I think it's more about, it's not about, yes, you have to have goals. People that set goals tend to hit them and obtain them, especially if they become obsessive about them. But for me, it's about understanding that the joy has to be in the journey.
Right,
and if you don't enjoy the journey, there's no goal at the end of it that's going to get there. I mean, you ask anybody that ever pledged a fraternity, especially back in the day when they could actually beat you up, which like I did. But you ask people, what is the best time you ever had in your fraternity in college? And everybody will tell you it's when I was a pledge. Right. It's when I was getting beat down. It's when I was getting hazed. It's when I was getting just abused by all the brothers. And the reason it's more fun to get abused like that is because you have a cohesiveness with your other pledge brothers that even once you got in the fraternity, you didn't really have. And it's a weird sort of thing. So I think enjoying the journey and understanding that, man, look back to when I was on The Apprentice. I mean, a great example. Dude, that's the hardest mentally and physically thing we've had to do because you just don't sleep. And then as soon as it's over, you stop and you think about it and you go, man, that was incredible. And I think that you read stories from Navy SEALs that go through BUDS and they all have similar experiences. The hardest things in life are the most rewarding. So find joy in the journey. I mean, if you genuinely hate prospecting, if you genuinely hate systematically engaging with people, maybe this isn't the job for you.
Right.
Maybe it's just not the job for you.
Well, I think people are so focused on trying to capture that next lead, but they don't have fun in it.
Yeah.
I think the lost art is having fun in your business again. Conversating, like making jokes with your clients, being who you are. They get you sell real estate or whatever you're doing, but like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? When you walk into a room, are they going to know everything about you as a potential client or a lead or whatever they're doing by looking you up on social media? Because we all look each other up on social media.
Sure.
And think about how you advertise today. And I had a lot of clients where they said, well, why would you think Zillow and all these other people would get into space? And you've got private groups now that they've been established where people go on their rants about their clients. Now, how many times publicly?
The humble bitch brag, which I call it, which realtors love to do. I love to bitch about somebody, which allows me to humble brag about something.
But it also is on a public post, people have been like, oh my gosh, title screwed this up, or this lender screwed this up.
Humble bitch brag.
But think about how many of your consumers read that post and are like, I don't want to work with your ass.
For sure.
Like, you're complaining about your client or how the transaction is going to go, but yet you say you're the neighborhood expert. You're there. So think about how you guys really build your brand and how you kind of put content out there, but have fun with it.
Yeah.
I think it's the lost art. Just have fun again.
Dude, I totally agree. Before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about your coaching program because I've got agents in our company that use it. They've completely shifted their business from spending, and I think this is one of the big points, which is, yesterday I taught a thing that we do here at a brokerage called The Collective. I did it with my partner Gavin, and one of the questions that we asked was, which has a higher success rate, internet leads or referrals? And of course, every hand goes up on referrals, and it's like, how much money are you investing in internet leads, and how much are you investing in your database to get referrals?
Right.
And that's the number that needs to skew back in the right direction. And I know that you've completely changed the business of a couple of our guys and gals that work at our company. And again, I don't recommend any other coach. You're the only guy that I'm currently recommending.
Appreciate that.
But here's why. Because I can tell somebody to be accountable by getting a spreadsheet.
Right.
What you do, and don't give me 20 minutes, give me like the elevator 5 minutes. But what you do is, it's almost like I don't even care if you're accountable because I'm going to give you the steps and you're going to do it or you're not.
Right.
But instead of just saying you need to go farm, figure it out, it is a step-by-step process to change your Facebook algorithms, to build a community around that, and become the mayor of real estate, your own little mayor of your real estate. So
right.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, when I would sit with my clients, I would write down all their questions, right? I think the law started. If you guys are a realtor, if your clients have questions, write them down.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you become successful. That's how you get time back. So when I looked at all these coaching, they're like, oh yeah, I do one-on-one. I'm like, why would you always do one-on-one? Well, how can you simplify the process? So what I did, I'm a little different in my coaching. Obviously, I practice what I preach. We'll talk about that in a sec. But I have a private Facebook group that I know you're a part of. You see, I do live coaching. I answer all the questions that my client have. We've got a great community of realtors that help one another. Hey, I did this. It's what I did to build my stuff. And we want quality over quantity, because people are always like, well, why don't you run ads, or why don't you run this? And I said, because I practice what I preach. But beyond that Facebook group, I built out a training portal that right now has 226 videos. They walk you through everything: open houses, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, editing video, how to literally build out your network of an audience, how to do closed private groups, how to template your stuff, how to create efficiency in your day. Because what I found with the coaching is they would say, hey, go do this, John. I need you to go do all this stuff. You'd hang up the phone because you're really excited. Tomorrow you wake up and you're like, I have no idea how to do this. Today? So my portal, they can go watch it, and each client gets their own individual one, and it's built out. Well, my philosophy is, gosh, you see all these clients, people charge $500 or $1,000, and I wanted to make it so that the common realtor today could be successful and get those extras. Say you only get 2, 3, 4 deals a year, but those 2, 3, 4 deals paid for my coaching for the next 10 years.
Sure.
And then what they don't understand is that you really need to build that brand out there, and there you're good, and have fun with it. But it's just a systematic of, it's accountability group, because you got it there. And people go, well, does it work? So you know me, I've gone across the entire country. We met through social media, through friends of friends, reached out, and I'm 10 months in and have over 400 coaching clients, and have not run one ad. Yeah. And have not done one thing and grown it all organic.
That's closing 400 deals.
So we talked about that when people post. So you're really saying, I close 400 plus realtors doing it my way to pay me money to coach them.
That's awesome.
So does it work? Yes. But if you know my life, you know me, I have fun.
I know.
I'm able to do things with my family. I'm able to get time back. My time's very efficient on when you build things out. My coaching clients know that. So I mean, if you're a realtor and you're always hesitant, you're always going to be hesitant.
Well, you're doing all of the same things within your coaching community that you're telling people they should do within their real estate client community,
right?
Which is what's so smart about it. So if somebody wants to get hooked up, wants to coach with you, where should they go? What should they do?
You can go to my page. It's under my link. I've got my website there. I'll drop the link in here, how to sign up.
What's the website? Podcast?
Yeah, jonstorycoaching.com.
That's JON STOREY. JON Story.com.
No, coaching.
Coaching.
Yeah, jonstorycoaching.com.
jonstorycoaching.com.
But yeah, they can go there. They can sign up. You can text me, 602-540-2578. Let them know that you were on and you heard me on this podcast, and I'll hook you up.
If you drop the link to Power Move, he'll give you 27 months for free. No, he's not giving you
And John's going to pay for it.
I'm going to pay for that out of the goodness of my heart. So anyway, if you want to follow John on Instagram, what's the Instagram? At
Jon Story.
At Jon Story. Me, always at the John Gafford, if you want to follow me on Instagram. Glad to have you, dude. Always good, man. Always good to have a chat. We'll have to have another one. We'll have to do like once a quarter as the market continues to change.
I like it.
Because remember, guys, stuff never stays the same.
Never.
So cool. All right, brother.
Appreciate you.
See ya.